Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show on yet another disgustingly rainy day.
It is disgustingly rainy, and yet it does feel as if the sun has come out.
And why is that, Greg Tepper?
Let's go live to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Today, Greg Powers Memorial Power Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, back from the Great White North,
Matthew!
Hello.
Matt Stepp.
Hello, foreigners. Or I guess I'm the foreigner.
You are.
Yeah, you're on our turf.
Our designated foreigner.
On our turf.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't tread on me.
If this were if this were wrestling, you're definitely the heel.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
Welcome back,
Tough
buddy.
affair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you? How much did you miss Texas?
A lot.
Oh,
I
so
missed it a
deeply.
lot. I missed it a lot. I miss my wife more.
That's
There you go.
That's
Correct answer.
Yes.
All of these things are tracked.
Check the boxes.
All right, good
Yes.
job. You're passing these tests.
Yes,
This
yes.
is very good.
But yeah, absolutely missed Texas. It was nice to be out at a 7-on-7 Saturday. A couple of coaches like, hey, welcome home, Stepp. And I was like, oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
Also, let's just acknowledge # skinny step.
Hashtag skinny
Look at
Stepp.
this man.
Well, I'm not skinny yet, but, I'm working on it. Yeah.
Gains.
Yes,
gains
hashtag
o'clock.
gains. Yeah.
Hashtag it's gains o'clock.
MFers.
That's right.
Yes.
This,
Yes, Robert Frank is my leader. Yes.
This is the man.
Size is the or swole is the goal, size is the prize.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Why are you saying that?
'Cause Pickle knows what's up.
Dude, I know.
Pickle knows.
You think that we don't get deep into the weeds of gains o'clock when we're stuck in a booth at
Yeah.
State for a
That's
week
right,
together?
that's
Like,
right.
come on.
Shout out Joe Cluley is my Robert Frank leader.
Yeah.
Me and him
Joe
share Robert
Cluley.
With
Frank.
the fresh cut.
Yeah.
Joe Klugely at Lubbock Estacado strikes me as a guy who looks at his watch and at every moment it says gains o'clock.
It's gains
Yes.
o'clock.
And he's a man who enjoys a good bit as well.
He does.
Yeah.
He does
And
enjoy a
so,
good bit, so
yeah.
it's a perfect mix.
It's a great, yeah. No, it was good. It was good to be out at 7-on-7 and see everybody and saw a lot of coaches and media friends. Got to spend the afternoon with Pickle and Mallory.
That was his favorite part.
That had its ups and downs, but it was good. It was a good time, and got to see our buddy Mike Roach from 24/7 and
Yeah.
Jeremy Clark, and it was good. It was good to be around. So and I got my Whataburger on Friday as soon as I landed.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was the second thing I went and got a Big Red first.
Yes.
I
guy.
was checking the boxes here. I went and got a Big Red, and then I went to Whataburger.
What was the Whataburger meal? I didn't ask you that.
A number 4 ketchup all the way with grilled onions and jalapenos.
There we go.
Onion rings instead of fries, and a Dr. Pepper.
Onion
yeah.
rings instead of fries is
That's a power
that's
move.
a veteran move.
Yeah.
It's a
And
veteran
then,
move because we love our friends at Whataburger. Their fries are good. Their onion rings,
Are
which
elite.
you have to ask for because it's like I don't think people think of Whataburger and think onion rings. But if you get them, they're dynamo.
Yes,
they're
they're
great.
incredible. And then after that, went and got my COVID shot. So yeah, got my vaccine. So yeah.
All
Hey,
the important
priorities.
things.
Yeah, literally, I've been in Texas for 2 hours. I was like, oh, I need this COVID shot here. So
You got
Whataburger, then COVID shot.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
guy.
I know.
yeah, I had to go to water. The important things. You know?
Priority.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an important sequencing there
Yeah.
there as well. A quick story from the weekend, if I may.
Okay.
A Hank story.
Tepper story
Ah.
time.
Pickle knows a little bit about this.
Okay.
Hank, yeah.
Texter.
Oh, yeah.
So
My guy.
Saturday, Tep wife and Hank went to the library. Hank's a big reader. Hank likes reading.
Okay.
Nerd.
Yeah.
He's a nerd. My 2-year-old's a nerd. So he goes there and they're reading a lot of books and going and you can check out up to 4 books at a time. And so he's checking out these books. Gets a Pete the Cat book. Gets a couple.
Okay. On brand.
Gets a couple of Winnie the Pooh books. We're into Pooh and Tigger.
Nice.
He gets
Yeah.
another book.
Tigger's the man.
Yeah, Piglet. I like Piglet.
There's
I like the Piglet of this office.
there's a little bit of backstory here, and I think I've mentioned this that on repeat in our household for the course of the pandemic was the Moana soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of course, the entire.
Because he figured out how to use Alexa,
Yes.
right, to say
So
to turn that thing
Kids
on.
and use this technology, man.
He says he knows where all his favorite shows are. Like I'll be like, "Do you want to watch Tigger and Pooh?" He goes, "It's on Disney,"
Disney.
which is 3 syllables. Netflix. He knows all those. Anyway, for trash art. Anyway, so he's a big fan of Moana because the music, and so he finds a book with Moana on it, and he's like, "Oh, we gotta get this book. Gotta get this book." And my wife's like, "Okay, fine, we do." And sure enough, that's how we came home with Disney's 5-minute girl power stories.
Yeah.
And I know you're the father of daughters.
I am.
You're we got Mrs.
stand.
Girl Power over there.
Yeah.
See, I have here's the picture. I bet I
yes.
can put it up.
Let's see if we can do this. There it is. That's
Girl
Disney's
power,
5-minute girl power
yeah,
stories.
there you go.
From the library.
Sure, Hank was super into that.
Hank thinks it's great. 'Cause
We
it's
stand.
Awesome.
There's a
He
mini
gets
story.
it.
There's a Mulan story. There's
This is a man. This is a man who's going to appreciate a strong woman.
That's exactly right.
That's
and you know
what's
what?
up.
And you know what? I ain't gonna stop him. I ain't gonna stop him. And my wife, who is very much like girl power, she's like, all right.
Is she proud?
You followed into my trap.
Yeah.
You followed into my trap
Yeah.
of female empowerment.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good.
We're big into princesses.
Hank is a modern man.
He is a modern man.
Yes, we stand. We stand Hank Tepper.
All right, hit the theme.
Please, let's see if you stand. You don't stand Greg Tepper.
No, only Hank Tepper.
I said hit the theme. Let's go! Free money! Free
Let's go.
How to sing the blues, baby. The shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a program on the internet. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, texasfootball.com, corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on Facebook, texasfootball.com, Twitch, or YouTube. Did I get all those right?
Yes.
That's my producer. Or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting in one chair in this studio, sitting over in another chair at the studio with a bunch of gizmos and gadgets in front of her. She's helping keep this train on the tracks. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's our producer, Ashley Pickle. Our executive producer, Ashley Pickle.
Ooh.
I should just keep
Did I
adding
get
titles
bumped
to it.
up?
I should keep adding titles to it. Like
Did she get a
executive
raise?
producer.
That was my
That's
next
dumb.
question.
No.
We'll give you whatever title you want. As long as it
I
doesn't
told
cover
you I
your
want
money.
I want a chief in there somewhere.
Chief executive producer.
Yeah, I need a chief.
VP of
Executive producer / chief of digital staff.
VP of production. Those other dulcet tones you hear. We go over the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Today, Greg Powers Memorial Power Zone.
For
where we're
chief,
joined
another chief.
by our chief
Canadian
Texas high
expert.
school football correspondent, our high school football insider, back from Canada for a
Yes.
little bit. He is Matt Stepp. Hello, Matt.
How's it going?
Welcome back.
Hello,
bud.
Texas.
Yes.
I said we
Yes.
should have played O Canada when he walked in today.
Oh,
Like,
that
you know,
would've
we
been a
should have
good bit.
lined the halls.
I don't know if we
Yeah.
have the rights to O Canada. And that feels like...
But it's a different country. Like, you don't have to file for trademark stuff because it's a different
point.
country.
That's
Ooh, yeah,
right.
we can just steal whatever Canadian stuff we want.
Yeah.
That's not how that works at all.
Our local Canadian
You
just
can't
said so.
You
Yeah.
can't
He
just
said so.
You can't just start playing Degrassi on the internet and people will be like, "Okay, sure, I guess this tracks."
Matt Stepp said I could, so I
Guess
think
we're
it's
not gonna
official.
fix anything.
Yeah. Just don't do it on Twitter. We don't want your Twitter account suspended.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They
no.
will get you.
They will. Yeah.
Today is Monday, May 24th, 2021. 185 days till Thanksgiving. Episode 1172. 1172. This is the number of games that Frank Howard played in his illustrious Texas Rangers and Washington Senators career. That's a
He's a large man.
Texas Rangers Hall of Famer and a large man. A large man. They clocked him in at 6'7", 255.
Yeah.
It's a big boy for playing in the 60s. His career started in 1958. He was 6'7", 250. Can you imagine? Oh, Howard! Howard the Hercules!
He was basically like Shaq playing baseball. Back
really
then,
was.
probably.
Yeah, that feels like you got to dip a little bit to hit, you know?
Probably.
Yeah.
But he also was
He hit a lot of home runs.
he was Rookie of the Year in 1960.
I would think so.
He finished in the MVP voting 5 times. He's a 4-time All-Star. Yeah, pretty good.
Solid career.
Pretty good player. And he bridged the gap from Washington to Texas. One of those few players. On today's show, friends, we've got headlines from across the state, and then we will just talk with Matt Stepp. So if you have
Impromptu
questions,
mailbag.
if you have high school football questions, an impromptu mailbag with Matt Stepp. He's the actual high school insider around these parts.
Yeah.
So if you've got questions
Am
for
I?
Matt Stepp, You can hit us up on Facebook on the comments. You can hit us up on YouTube or Twitch in the comments, or you can text us 972-532-6665. That's 972-5-DAMN-OK.
Any questions?
972-532-MONK. If you have questions about poutine, which he does not like,
No. Or how I crossed the border
yes,
when the border's closed.
we can talk about that too.
Don't send your romance questions to Pickle because
Yeah.
she's
Yeah, Chief Romance
Yeah,
Correspondent's over here.
she's
So
the
there,
pickle.
there's the
Yeah.
real one.
She's the romance expert.
Yes.
So yeah,
travel. We'll take travel questions as well,
Yeah, there you go.
food, of course.
and food.
Do we
yes.
That goes without saying.
Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Tony Blaylock, Coach Terry Crawford, Daniel Agnew, and Landon Sams. Also, want to give a shout out to YouTube here. Steeler fan 1933 was he commented before the stream even went live.
Do you think?
Man, he was ready.
Also, when
Or
I
he or
said
she.
He
or
was
she.
born in
Yeah.
1933.
if he's
That would
figuring out
mean-
YouTube comments, born in 1933,
Means he's 87.
that's pretty dope. Also, they said when I said "Hey Alexa," which I just did it again, it came on in his
Great.
house. So
Let me try this. Alexa, buy 100 pounds of dog food.
you are a cruel,
Someone's cursing
cruel
Tepper
man.
now.
You are cruel.
It's really good. Hope you have a dog. Big dog. Okay. On today's show, my friends, let's get to some headlines. And we'll start, and I'm glad you're here to break this down. We're going to start with, I think, probably the biggest story from last week in the high school football world having to do with Jadon Blue. Jadon Blue is the Jadon. The problem is he spells it the same way as Jadon McCullough.
Yeah,
At Plano East.
I believe it's Jadon Blue.
I
Jadon.
believe so.
I believe so too.
Yeah, that's what
If
Powers
it's not,
says.
we're sorry, Mr.
Okay.
Blue.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Blue.
That's what Powers
Um,
said, so blame it on
so-
our mountain.
Hashtag blame Powers.
Jadon
Yeah.
Blue is the number 12 prospect in the DCTF Hot 100. He is the running back from Klein Kane. He's the number 1 ranked running back in the class of 2022, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com/recruiting. He is a Texas commit. He is a star.
Great player. Saw him last year. He's a great player.
He's a great player, okay? And that is why it was a bit of a seismic move when he announced on Twitter last week that he would be foregoing his senior season at Klein Kane in order to prepare for the next level. I'll read a snippet from his he did the did he do the Notes app thing? He did the Notes app.
Yeah, he did the Notes app thing. You know, the kids, the kids and their Notes apps.
Quote, "This has been a very difficult decision for my family and I. Football is a brutal sport, and the wear and tear associated with the running back position is undeniable. I plan to take this time to focus on my academics while enhancing my off-the-field training and rehab regimen. This is a strategic and conscious decision effort to ensure that I am prepared to perform at an elite level at the collegiate ranks during the 2022 season. This is an incremental step in hopes of one day fulfilling my NFL dreams." It goes on, but that's the basic gist of it. So Jadon Blue will not play for Klein Kane in 2021.
As of now.
As of now.
Well, I mean, I think there's always I don't think the door is 100% closed
Okay.
on him playing his senior year. Pickle and I talked to a couple of folks at the 7-on-7 last week, and got some things off the record that we're not going to talk about specifically on the air. But I don't think the door is 100% closed.
So you think there will at least be an effort to get him to convince him otherwise?
Yeah,
to convince
I mean,
him to come, which makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think the door is 100% closed. I mean, I think it's fair to say that something's gone awry here. With some relationships in Jadon's life, with maybe some folks who are in charge there at Klein Kane. I think it's something's happened, and so I think it's fair to say that the decision was made, I think, on his part to take off this year. But there's always a chance that those relationships can be repaired. That maybe he has a change of heart and those kinds of things. So I don't think the door is 100% closed there.
So.
And he's an 18-year-old
Yeah,
kid.
I mean,
I'm a 17 to 18-year-old kid.
Things can always
change.
change.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not
Sure.
one.
Sure.
Selfishly, I'm I'd like to see him play.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's a great player. Why wouldn't we want to watch him play? But at the same token, we're not directly. It's his life. It's his decision. It's his parents and his family. If he's talking to his parents and the people close to him, and if it's a decision that he feels like is best for him, then who are we to say? Who are we to question that?
Certainly.
I mean, that's something that if his parents and he feels like that's what's best for him in his future, then all you can do is just wish him the best.
Now there are And I agree with you. I think that this is a loss for Texas high school football because obviously we want the best players in the state playing on the field. I don't think that's necessarily a hot take. With that said, I will say this. I think he makes an interesting point, which is, as a running back, you are, that is a car crash position. Like between their offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and linebackers. Those are car crash positions where you are taking big hits more or less every single play.
Especially when you're the star player on a team,
And
too. That's a lot of carries.
And you've got all eyes on you,
Yes.
and the defenses are going to be geared up to slow them down. So, and look at how running back's been devalued at the NFL level,
Yes.
and the devaluing of the running back position at that level. You don't think high school kids who play running back see that?
They are, yeah. I would say that running backs, especially once you get up to the upper levels, college and pro, they are viewed more or less as kind of disposable. You know what I mean? That you get as much tread on those tires as you can, and then they go.
You go find the next one.
Yes,
you
it's
go find the
literally
next one.
like car tires is the best way to put it.
Like the days of LaDainian Tomlinson are gone or going.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have one or two guys who have these lengthy 10-year careers, the Adrian Petersons, but those are 1 in a million. And so one thing, I think he makes an interesting point. There's also another aspect of this that I think is worth mentioning, which is from a recruiting perspective, he has essentially nothing else to gain from playing as a senior. From a recruiting perspective.
Correct.
He is. We mentioned he's the number 12 prospect in Texas football at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. He is a 4-star. He's pretty much consensus 4-star running back. There is not a whole lot of room for him to improve. He's committed to Texas.
They're not going to drop him.
They're not going to drop him.
He's too good. And they, do I think, like, as far as that goes, do I think the Texas coaches like the decision? No, I don't think they like it. I think they'd probably rather him play, just from a relationship standpoint with the high school coaches and those kinds of things. But,
I doubt this came from Texas.
No, I think Texas is probably of the opinion we're going to let him. It's his decision. It's his family's decision. We're going to let them make that decision. But they're not going to drop him. He's too good. He's too talented.
Especially with a brand new coach coming in, you don't drop
all the calls. Like I know
yeah.
Texas message boards have been filled with people saying that Texas should drop him. No, it's not happening.
No,
he's too good. He's too talented.
Okay.
He's from all indications, he's a good kid. He's got
a 3.8
yeah,
GPA.
3.8 GPA. I mean, he's taking care of his business in the classroom. There's no reason.
So I think there's one more side to this saga, and that is
the inevitable freak out.
Yes. I think that there is a large, I won't say large. There is a portion of the Texas high school football world who is going to wonder, is this opening the door to this becoming a huge trend, and this becoming suddenly players and blue chippers like this are not going to play their senior year. My initial reaction is no. My initial reaction whenever the idea is that the sky is falling is that it's not going to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I think Jadon Blue is a pretty unique case in the sense that he plays a high impact position. He is already at the very top of his recruitment ceiling, more or less. He can't be the number 0 ranked running back in Texas. He's the number 1 ranked running back in Texas. There's nothing he can gain from that. I think that this is, and furthermore, obviously, there's, the conversations he's had with his family. He does not. He feels that it is more important for him to prepare for college than it is for him to play as a senior in high school, and that is his prerogative to feel that way.
Yeah.
I think that is a certain set of circumstances that is pretty rare, and I don't think that this is going to become this huge trend. My initial reaction was it is compared to the freak out over when IMG Academy opened. When IMG Academy in Florida opened, there was a freak out, especially among Texas high school football coaches, that, oh my gosh, this is the end. They're going to come and they're going to pluck all of the best players from Texas. And in the end, how many players from Texas go to IMG Academy every year?
The last couple of years, I don't think there's been
0 to 2.
Yeah.
0
Maybe.
to 2.
I mean, the kid from Tompkins
Yeah.
was supposed to go there last year, but then didn't. He came back
Yeah.
because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I mean, there was an offensive lineman
It's-
from Allen that
yeah.
went there, and he came back. I guess is Kellen Mond the last real high
He-
profile
I would say so. It is that to me strikes me as the comparison.
parallel there?
The parallel
Yeah.
is the freakout's going to be big. I think it's unnecessarily big because there may be 2 players who do this every year, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be like the whole top 40 at texasfootball.com/recruiting is going to opt out of their senior season. I just think that this is a unique circumstance for Jadon Blue that he feels this is the right decision for him.
A good point that was just brought up, Daniel Agnew brought this up, that Klein Kane has a lesser chance of winning state. And it's one of those things I think that you could look at it in that way too if you want to talk about. Let's throw out Cade Klubnik. He has a chance to go for another one. He's in line to be the next Trevor Lawrence. That kid's not stepping off because he's got another chance to win state.
Yeah, I think
so
it's much.
like,
I think you're much less likely to see this at a place like Katy or South Lake Carroll
Yes.
or
like
or
some
Aledo.
of the big names, you know.
Yeah, I think you're a lot more likely to see it at a program like Klein Kane, which is good. But number one, there's not it's a newer program, so there's not that tradition there, that kind of thing as well. So there's a lot of factors that play into it. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure the door's completely closed.
I agree.
And the other thing about this is, you mentioned it. They are a young program. They're a new program. And we've talked about all these things that we know. There's also a lot that we don't. Like we have to sit here and be humble enough to say there's a lot of stuff we don't know going on behind the scenes that may have informed this decision for Jadon Blue.
He's a human, and
Yeah.
much
Yes.
more under that, he's still a kid technically.
I
Like,
make
you
the
can't-
comparison when we talked about high school coaching changes, which we'll talk about in a moment, is that sometimes these coaching changes come about and you go, why in the world would he do that? And then like you go and you talk with the coach and it turns out he has like a perfectly good reason of like, hey, I have a lake house out there and I really want to go coach there.
Yeah, there's
You know what
always
I mean?
something lying beneath the surface.
Yes.
Some other, if you just, and he's going to be careful with his words and what he comments publicly to the media because it's such a high profile thing, as he should. But I mean, I bet if the folks that know the situation probably know, there's probably a really good reason for it. And so again, it's disappointing because we want to watch him play, but in the end, if him and his family feel like it's the best decision for them, then people make the best decisions for them and their family in all walks of life. Just because he's a kid, if his parents support him, then you have to just kind of live with it.
And I also just don't think that this is some paradigm shifting move that suddenly you're going to see all these players opt out. I just don't think. My read on the situation is that this is a special circumstance for this individual player. Could this special circumstance happen for other players? Yeah, absolutely. It could always happen. But I will say that I don't think that this is some sort of harbinger of doom that all of a sudden we're going to have all these players opting out.
I just view it like an injury. I mean, he's not playing this year, so it's next man up.
That happens every year.
There's always good players that we lose for the entire year because of an injury or something. I just view it kind of like that.
Absolutely.
So
Okay. So there's the Jadon Blue situation. Let's move on to some other headlines, including we'll talk some coaching changes.
still some happening.
Still some happening.
We're gonna need y'all to quit by Friday.
It's May 24th. We send the magazine to press on Friday, you jerks.
Sorry, they can happen. All the coaching changes can happen after Friday because then we have plausible deniability.
that's true.
Yeah.
So that's wrong. Well, it happened
This
after
is on
Friday.
y'all.
And so Matt Stepp broke the news on Twitter this morning that we have a pretty high-profile opening down near the Houston area.
Yeah. Tom Westerberg, Barbers Hill, is resigning, and he pending board approval tonight with Hayes Consolidated is going to be the athletic director there in Hayes Consolidated ISD. So
Wow.
it's a good
time.
move for him. I think he had, people look at it, and I have a couple people on Twitter saying, the Barbers Hill experiment failed. They didn't win a state title. I don't think any rational football person expected Tom Westerberg to win state championships at Barbers Hill. But he went 38-17 in 5 years there.
Wow.
It's a pretty good run at Barbers Hill. So, this is a good move for him. He gets to be the athletic director of a 3 high school ISD there south of Austin. And his son just left and became the head coach at White House. So I think he felt like this was a good time to try to move on. The timing of it is interesting because it's so late. but I've been told about sources pretty close to the situation that Barbers Hill's probably going to look outside for their hire.
They're going to open it up.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting because typically when you see jobs open up at the end of May, the smart money is almost always on an internal hire. But from what I've been told, this hire, the smart money is going to be on an outside hire.
Wow.
Which could mean more late movement because I can tell you Barbers Hill, one school ISD in the Houston area, great facilities. They've got an indoor facility. That's going to be a highly coveted job that pays well too.
It does.
Those facilities down there are amazing.
Yeah. So
it's a good job. It's a really good job right now, and so that's one thing that's open. It is now, I believe, one of. Have we updated this with the site yet?
We're over 200 at this point.
Yeah, it's on the site.
Yeah,
It should
so
be.
they're now that becomes one of 23 jobs that are still open here on May 24th. I mean, 23 jobs. Now look, so they range. In profile, like for example, look, Mansfield Legacy's still open.
Yeah,
Mansfield Legacy's a good gig. You know what I mean? They range in those. I think San Antonio Wagner's a big time job there at Judson ISD. Mm-hmm. So there's
Monday. It's big school board meeting season tonight. So
do you anticipate? Here's a dumb question. You anticipate a fair number of fair amount of news tonight?
Yeah, I know Edgewood's hiring tonight. They're hiring a defensive coordinator from nearby, a larger school nearby. Who has head coaching experience in South Texas. So there's your step tease there on that one.
There you go.
I believe Irvin MacArthur should be naming their guy at any moment. I think today or tomorrow Irvin MacArthur will have their head coach. So there's a few. Carrizo Springs hired on Thursday night, I believe. So a few of these jobs you'll see if several fill tonight. And we'll probably be under 20 by the end of the week.
You can find all the coaching changes at TexasFootball.com. Finally, let's round it all out with
presented by North Texas Honda Dealers.
Thank you.
That's right. Helpful Honda dealers.
Presented by our friends there.
Go buy a Civic or an Accord. They're
Yes.
great
cars.
Yes,
Great cars.
they hold their. This is dad talk here. I told my daughters this. You should get a Honda Civic or a Honda Accord because they hold their value really well.
That is dad talk. Mike.
Honda,
there you
the check.
go.
Honda, send the check to cash,
That's-
please. Make it out to cash. Thank you, Honda.
You're not there at that dad talk
No,
yet.
my God.
You're still at
No,
Girl
he's-
Power Books,
I'm still
so
Girl
we'll get
Power
there.
Books and being 2. Okay, finally, there was 7-on-7 action this weekend. This was the second big week of 7-on-7 SQTs, the third week overall. You guys were out in Grapevine, right? That was one of the big boys.
Yeah, Grapevine
SQTs.
/ South Lake. Yeah, 2014
24
tournament.
teams.
Yeah, we had Garland look really good. I saw Garland. The Biddle kid, I think he's committed to OU. Chance Biddle looked really good. Jordan Hudson.
That's a team we've heard coaches mention to us and say, keep an eye on the Owls this year.
Garland looked really good. They blew through everyone over there. South Lake Carroll qualified. Quinn Ewers was doing Quinn Ewers things.
No way.
It looked unfair.
Yeah, and then Flower Mound Marcus qualified. They had that kid who moved in from Washington, Cole Welliver, I think is his name. Big, tall kid. He's a 2024 kid. He's 6'6", good arm, and they won over at Collier Heritage. They qualified. It was a good, solid tournament, though.
Down at the Lake Travis SQT, Austin Westlake is through.
Shocking.
35-25.
Wow.
That's groundbreaking news
Yeah.
right there.
Westlake and Hutto.
And
Hutto.
also, shout out
to Coach LaPlante.
to the Hippos. They qualify. They beat Austin Vandergriff in the qualifying tournament out in Midland, out in West Texas. El Paso Eastlake's coming to town.
Yeah.
El
The
Paso,
El Paso schools did great out there.
Yeah.
The two El Paso schools both won their pools.
Yeah, El Paso Eastlake beat El Paso Eastwood in overtime. Although, if we know Julio Lopez, this will not be the last SQT they're playing in.
No, they're going to Lubbock this week.
Are they?
Yes. Yeah.
That was to reset for people. This was 4 years ago or something like that. We went out to 3 or 4 years ago. We went out to an SQT in Hearst at LD Bell, and Julio Lopez and El Paso Eastwood are like, "What are you doing here?"
1 year they went to Tyler.
God Almighty!
They went to Tyler 1 year. Yeah.
They want to play SQT.
They love playing. They're hosting in 2 weeks. They get to host one, so they want to
Oh, there
travel.
you go. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Midland Legacy is through. Midland
Yes.
Legacy beat Lubbock High in the state qualifying tournament, so they are through too.
They were dominant. They really
Yeah.
looked. Their sophomore quarterback looked really good, and they've got a receiver who transferred in from Midland Christian who's really
Could
strong.
one say the Rebs are back, baby?
Coach Hartman.
What's the
Have you gotten the text yet?
What's the back status on?
They've
on
been
the
back
Rebs?
for like 3 years. You can't text me that anymore, Coach Hartman.
Every
y'all
week-
are really good.
Every week he DMs me, he's
Yeah.
like, Rebs are back, baby. I'm like, we know!
Y'all are always
They've
y'all
been back.
Y'all have been back, Coach.
When did y'all
Y'all are outstanding.
Out in Tyler Chapel Hill wins their own SQT. They beat Bullard
60-12
in a big way. And then Carthage.
Oh, shocking, man!
Wait, you're telling me Carthage, Southlake, and Westlake all qualified?
Super weird.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But we did talk about this though, Pickle. Last week we were talking about this is the week that you're going to start seeing a lot of those blue bloods punch their ticket.
Yep.
And there's more coming.
what it was.
Look at Melissa.
In Burnett.
Yeah.
In Burnett, Little River Academy.
The Bumblebees.
Another team.
The Swole Bees.
The Swole Bees.
I need a shirt. I need one of their shirts.
Oh, yeah.
As
Absolutely.
is
Coach Hunt, hook it up,
As
please.
is China
Please.
Spring, they edge out Lampasas in the state qualifying round. And then in Melissa,
Oh, here you go. Here's two terrible football teams
Yeah.
right here.
Awful.
you're never going to believe this, but Argyle and Pleasant Grove are going to go to College Station.
Yeah.
This is
shocking.
all fake news.
But
I
here's-
don't believe anything.
Here's
that
the
you're
funny
saying.
thing: the teams they beat in the state qualifying round were Salina and Sanger, who are also like seems like every single year they're going to state.
The
So
SQT and Salina's coming up, right? That's what you
June
said.
12th.
June
June
12th.
12th. Yeah.
I would bet they'll be there. And then down in Division 3 in Hamilton, Corsicana, Mildred, and Eastland are
There we go.
through.
Hi, Eastland's doing okay without Baron Morton apparently.
Very interesting.
Hamilton, elite courthouse, if you're wondering.
And they have Storms.
How would you?
They do.
How
a
would
Storms
you
in
know
Hamilton.
about the courthouse? This raises more questions than it answers.
You know where I have to drive directly through every time I head home to Atlanta? Hamilton.
Ellis County has an elite courthouse as well.
That sounds
Thank you.
somebody who
We should rank.
Hamilton, Heiko
Here,
goes
here
all the way
is
down.
an off-season project. Rank the courthouses.
Oh, see, what I would rather do, I'm big on water towers. This is a whole other thing
Oh.
I could get into, but small town water towers are awesome.
Luling has an impressive water tower. 'Cause
Yes.
It's like a watermelon.
Yeah, exactly, because the thump.
Yeah.
The thump's a big deal. My aunt used to make us homemade dresses for the thump.
Oh, I want to see one of those. I want to see a homemade watermelon thump dress.
I could leave. Like you guys seem like you got it. You guys are good.
There's so much just weird stuff about our great state. This is
that we could talk for hours. No, the elite water tower tour though is going like up to Colorado, like all through the little West Texas towns. My mom sends me pictures of water towers when she goes to new places.
that's a good bit.
Do you guys know how to party or what? So
Trish knows how to party.
Trish, duh.
those were headlines, and then whatever that was. We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com.
Great
Talking
show.
football in a Lone Star State.
Set the
You
bar
can follow us
low.
on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. A week from Friday, that is, mark your calendar, June 4th,
Big
the
day.
official
Drum roll.
Big
cover
doings.
reveal of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, presented by our friends at Home Field Apparel. We will be revealing the cover of the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the 62nd annual Bible of Texas Football, right here, live, exclusively on TexasFootball.com. To get your 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands, become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Oh,
I don't know who that person is.
that's a Texas High School Football Hall of Famer that
Is
just
that?
walked in here.
I couldn't tell who is that.
That's John Heike,
Oh.
former then Fox Sports Southwest.
I heard the name. I just don't know.
Yes, that's right. That's Texas High School Hall of Famer. Anyway, hi.
People just walking into the office. You know?
Really, well now, like the Pandy's,
Yeah.
the Pandy's been canceled, and so people are just walking in. I mean, we got you here. from
I mean,
Canada,
yeah.
which is a good segue
From across the border.
to Matt Stepp, Canadian tourist.
Yes.
And here to do a little impromptu mailbag. So if you got questions about high school football, or you've got questions about Canada, or
The metric system. You
or
know?
metric system, or if you need food recommendations,
Yeah.
like now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Now is like if you're traveling. Perfect example. If you're traveling somewhere in the state this year, and you know you are, and you need a food recommendation somewhere in the state, get those questions in
Oh,
right
God.
now.
Somebody's gonna name a town I haven't been to, and I'm just
on
gonna. Well, I don't know.
On Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave
Look on
Campbell's,
TripAdvisor.
or on Twitch, or on YouTube, or on the text line.
Quick thing, real fast, going back to the 7-on-7 thing. Sci-Fair also had an SQT, and Cy-Falls and Klein Kane qualified. So
Okay,
just
there you
throwing
go.
that
Yeah,
out
we
there.
didn't get scores
We-
from that one.
Oh,
We
okay.
missed that one.
Coach Brister calls me. I'm at Schlotsky's because I like
Respect.
Schlotsky's.
Oh, it's so good. Thank you.
yes.
And
And,
Schlotsky's reference.
yes.
We'll invoice you, Schlotsky.
And yeah, please sponsor the show. And Coach Brister calls me, and he's like, "Man, I'm really sorry." He's like, "We had all the scores written down," and he goes, "And the sky just opened up and just washed all the scores
Oh,
away."
no.
And
If
I
you
was
guys-
like, "Coach, it's all right,
If
man."
you guys think like maybe people watch like an internet show and they're like, man, Texas high school football must be like really like squared away and like
We're
all
writing
the edges
scores
have been
down on
rounded off and
napkins.
stuff. Like we're just really like everything's super official. It's like the more you dig into it, you're more like, nah, just a bunch of people who are writing stuff on napkins.
Yeah.
Like
Barbecue stained napkins.
every time I'm with the UIL, our friends at the UIL, I'm always like, oh, that's the way you guys do that, huh? It's a lot, It's you guys just
pulling the
kind of making
curtain
a
back.
decision. You
Yeah,
know what
it's
I mean?
kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Coach Brister, it's cool. I understand. He just,
It happens.
we were getting rained on at ours too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
luckily it wasn't.
But we
too
had
bad.
we had a sweet Google Doc that gave us all of our scores.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shout
Uh-huh.
out Coach Alexander at Grapevine.
Who,
Yep.
That's a
Sweet Google Doc.
As a
there.
man who is
It's a
ahead
man who
of
knows
his
his
time.
technology there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you got questions for high school football or anything else Matt Stepp related, get them
Or-
in on Facebook.
Or we'll just go eat lunch. I mean, if you don't have any questions, we'll just go eat lunch.
Yeah, I can take you to lunch.
Also that.
Um,
Okay, we'll start off with this, and this is I want a spitball number on this because I would be incredibly surprised if either of you knew the exact number. But how many schools will start a freshman at quarterback for varsity this upcoming year?
wait, say that again. I was reading something else.
Thanks for listening to my questions, bud. How many schools will start a freshman at quarterback
Ooh.
for varsity this upcoming
So,
year?
so I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stepp, or you disagree. I would say that every step down the classification ladder you take, it gets more likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is probably close to 0 in 6A.
I'd say in 5A, 6A, it's close.
5A,
to
6A
zero.
is close to
Yeah,
0.
yeah.
There will be a couple in 4A.
Mm-hmm.
There will be
now, and we're also not talking about injuries like
No,
that.
yeah,
That's
yeah, we're-
likely,
yeah,
but
yeah.
this is starting
this is,
on
this
the
is,
roster.
This is right
full
now.
health.
Everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
And we're also talking week 1.
Yeah.
Like, by week 6 or 7, there might be a few more.
I would say a grand total of 20.
yeah, and
I
I
would-
would say of the 25,
And
probably
that's,
a dozen are in 2A.
and that's
probably.
UIL 11, man. There will always be
a ton in
you will
6,
see
man.
you will see a fair amount, not a ton, but you'll see a handful. More than you would see at any other 11-man level, simply because you got to play who you got, and if your best player was an 8th grader last year, then you're playing a guy who was an 8th grader last
I'm
year.
trying to go through some of the questionnaires, the 489 capsules that I wrote for the magazine,
I don't
and
think you're counting.
there's at least a couple that I know that mentioned they were going to start freshmen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be
Yeah.
I'll say 20. 20 is a good ball.
I've read quite a few in the
That's a flex.
well, no, I think it was in the 5A rank
I
that they
can read.
said that they
I graduated
from
Lano.
I'm done.
Can read.
I'm done with y'all.
Sorry, Pickle.
What's
Are there any good barbecue places in Lockhart?
I mean, there's a
Is that
couple.
an actual
Yeah.
question? Did somebody ask that?
No way.
yeah. Yes.
Okay. Matt Stepp.
Yes.
Way to make them feel bad.
Yes, there are
A
several.
bunch of good ones.
Yeah. All the locals go to Chisholm Trail, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But all the tourists, go to. I'll say this: in Lockhart, Smitty's on its best
Yes.
day is the best one.
Yes.
But Smitty's,
Doesn't it have high ceiling, low floor though?
yes, Smitty's has high ceiling, low floor, so it varies at
Yeah.
Smitty's. Consistency, I'd say, is probably Kreitz.
I agree.
But Kreitz is also a lot more sanitized, I'd say. I mean,
It's-
Smitty's is like in downtown. It's like the pits are ancient.
Yes.
It's old.
Kreitz is that's the place I go when I'm in Lockhart because I'm not in Lockhart very often. And I
Yeah.
know I want to get good barbecue.
Mhm.
If you go to Smitty's, and the other one's Black's.
Blacks.
Blacks,
Blacks
yeah.
has like really good sides too.
Yeah.
Blacks has a better selection
Their
of
potato
sides.
salad slaps.
Yeah.
Kreitz is the one for me whenever because I'm only there once or twice a year. I'm like, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to risk getting a bad day. And so if you go to Kreitz, you know what you're getting. It's very solid.
If you're feeling saucy, though, go to Smitty's because you got high ceiling.
Yeah.
Smitty's. So I've been to Smitty's twice, and the first time I went, it was incredible, and the second time I was like, it's
yeah, and that's
riding the struggle bus
well,
that
that's
day.
the worst.
Wonder if it depends on who's working the pits that day,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
The worst is when you go somewhere and you've like really hyped it up, and then like you go and you're like, oh, it's not very
Yeah.
good. But for example, speaking of barbecue,
Mm.
you and I had to travel out east way recently, and
Mm-hmm.
we stopped in Tyler, and we went to what was it called?
Stanley's.
Stanley's. We went to Stanley's, and I was telling her, I was like, this is great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And guess what?
Oh, it's so good.
It was great.
It was
Did-
so good.
Did you get the mother clucker?
We
So-
got both the
we
mother
got both
clucker
and
Okay.
split them in half.
We got the mother clucker and the brother-in-law.
Okay,
and we
good.
split them in
Yeah.
half.
That mother clucker was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the brother-in-law was great. Don't get me wrong, but the mother clucker was. It was one of those that when you just like, I took a picture of it and sent it to my dad, and it's one of those that even just seeing it, you're like, oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they've done something.
Oh yeah. The ribs were
Stanley's.
good too.
Yeah, we got some of the ribs.
We
Got
were
some-
recommended to get
A
some of the
side
ribs.
of ribs.
Side of
We
ribs.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the side.
Nice.
We
Nice.
split everything.
All right, what's next, Pickle?
Let's go with. I like this question. How soon could we see names on the back of college jerseys in the stand/stores?
Oh, you're talking about NIL. You're talking about name, image, and likeness.
Didn't Texas?
So,
they passed.
I think
Texas
they
wants to
passed
pass
it,
it,
yeah.
or Texas
It
is.
passed,
it's
I
at
think.
least, yeah. It's at least, yeah. It's on the doorstep, if not all the way in the door. It's going to happen. I know the NCAA has kind of said we need some clarification on this by June, and they want to ask Congress because the NCAA is crooked and they don't want this to happen because they're a cartel and they should be destroyed. But it's going to happen. I would say probably not this season, but I bet next year.
2022
I
football
bet
season.
2022. I bet 2022 you'll be able to get a Quinn Ewers Ohio State Buckeyes jersey.
Yeah.
I bet you will be, because I think NIL is coming and it's a long time coming, in my humble opinion. Destroy the NCAA. What's next?
Another one. What is Stepp's favorite activity to do in Canada?
Ooh.
Well, we've been on lockdown since I've been there, so really all I've done is hang out with my wife and go run around the block because the gym's closed.
So hang out with your wife
yes,
is the answer.
hang
here.
out with my wife. Yeah.
Yes, hang out with your wife.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing to do too, honey.
Yeah.
Smiles.
Really, there's really not much to do right now.
I
Hope-
was fixing to
you
say,
know.
but y'all are on the, or your wife is at least. You said you're on the TikTok food trend, though.
Yeah,
that seems like
man.
something to actually do while you're in quarantine.
Yeah, Mrs. Stepp utilizes TikTok a lot for recipes, and they almost all slap. Like, I think it's because my wife's a great cook, but she gets a lot of recipes from TikTok, and it works out well. So, but like right now, I think when we're not in lockdown and that kind of thing, summertime is beautiful in Canada. It's like 80 every day, and so it's really nice. So go out and we'll go to we like to go down into Lake Ontario or go to Niagara Falls.
So just to clarify, you're here now.
Uh-huh.
You're going to go back up to Canada, where it's going to be 80 degrees every day, right? And then the next time you come here
You're gonna be
will be for
frying.
State 7-on-7
Yes.
in College
College
Station,
Station.
where it is notoriously 175,000 degrees outside.
Here's the thing though about 7-on-7. When it was in July, it was
I never did in July.
awful, and it was at the intramural fields. It was at Penberthy.
Yeah.
It was miserable because they would not do 7-on-7 until the weekend after July 4th.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like the hottest weekend of the
Yes.
year. Like
Yes.
And
consistently.
Penberthy has no shade, zero. It is just intramural fields,
Yeah.
wide open. There's no, at least at Veterans Park, there's places to get out of the sun, and they moved it to the end of June. And most years that we've been at Veterans Park, it's been hot, but I mean it hasn't been
No.
unbearable.
It's been
The turf fields maybe are a little toasty, but
Well-
it's been like in the mid 90s.
well, you can also tell the teams that are there all the time because the parents show up at like 7 a.m.
Oh, and they got the setups going.
to stake out that little the corners where the trees are and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the power move.
Yeah,
there.
it's elite stuff.
Set up
there.
a base.
Yeah.
All right, what's next, Pickle?
Let's go with how about 4A Division 2 realignment? Who do you see making the playoffs? So give me your top teams, I guess, out of 4A Division 2.
Carthage. I mean, look, until proven otherwise, Carthage, 4A Division 2
Undisputed.
goes through Carthage.
It goes through Carthage. I think Gilmer's going to be really good again.
Yes, Brandon
Uh,
Tennyson
Brandon
is
Tennyson's a
probably
star.
someone to watch.
I'm trying to think of
I got a
another.
couple of sleepers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Sweetwater and Sinton.
Ooh, you're
Sweetwater's-
high on Sweetwater.
Yes,
Sweet-
keep an eye on Sweetwater and Sinton this year.
New coach in who they have?
Russell Lucas
Russell
from
Lucas
Hamlin.
from Hamlin, that's
Yeah.
They
right.
got a lot of
I forgot
guys
about
back. They pushed Salina in the second round last year. They were district champs. They were a year ahead of schedule. Sinton, I think, brings back like 19 starters this year. They're going to be really, really strong. So those are two. If you're looking for a couple of sleepers, Sweetwater and Sinton are a couple to keep an eye on.
Hit me with this. What about Is Caddo Mills returning a lot of their players,
No,
or was
they-
that a one and done
They
last year?
graduated pretty heavy. Tyler Townley graduated. That was kind of their.
Townley was awesome.
Yeah.
That senior class.
That's just a random take from me over
Yeah.
here. I'm like, Tyler
was
Townley
awesome.
was great, and I
'Cause
thought he
was
was really good at
If
football.
they had returners, they gave Gilmer a little bit of a struggle in that
They did,
playoff
yeah.
game last year.
I think China Springs is gonna be really good. The problem is they're in Region 3, and
That's just
you got this
tough.
getting through Carthage is just gonna be a
Can I throw-
monumental task.
Can I throw
Salino?
one other sleeper out there in 4A Division 2, and especially you said sitting in Region 4?
Yeah, I like Sinton in Region 4 a lot.
He's going off the beaten path.
I'm buying what Hondo's selling.
Coach Joe Del Carey did
I
a
think
heck
a,
of a
I
job.
think a second
right.
year, and that was his first year last year, right?
Yeah, this will be a second year this year.
Second
yeah.
year should be more normal. Get a long off season, stuff like that. I think Hondo.
Yeah.
I'm pretty high on. So.
Of course, then there's Wimberley in Region 4. You know.
Of course,
Coach
that.
Warren's
You
over here
never
going.
cross
yeah.
them out.
Yeah, never cross Wimberley out. Yeah.
Hi.
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 We're
Remember-
still here. We're
remember
not going
us?
anywhere.
We were in the semifinals last year, and
The state-
title
State
game
title game the year before.
Year
yeah.
before.
You know, but other than that, no, sure, have your Hondo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do we have two more?
Yes. This one's doesn't need to be answered. Where can I find a list of 7-on-7 SQTs in the Valley? All of our 7-on-7 information, texasfootball.com/7-on-7. You can find anything you need to know there.
There's 2 qualifiers in the Valley. I believe June.
Let's see.
They're a little later this year.
Yeah, June 5th and I want to
I-
say June 19th are the 2 weeks of
Let's
the RGV
see.
qualifiers.
There is
Division 1.
the Sherilyn Snake Pit SQT on June 5th.
Which
Yeah.
is
At Sherilyn, and then there's another one. I presume these are all. Oh yeah, and there's the Mid Valley RGV, June 19th, Weslaco. Kind of last chance.
Those are both 24-team tournaments,
yeah.
if memory serves. And then a lot of the Valley teams go to Corpus Christi and play in the Corpus Christi SQT.
yeah, and there's one on the 12th there, I think.
Yep.
And I would bet, I bet with that late one, that June 19th. Don't be surprised if you see some teams from like San Antonio traveling down there and stuff like that, because that is such a late SQT. Punch your ticket late. One of the last opportunities to get it. So yeah.
There's no Division 2 or Division 3 RGV SQTs. No. They got to go to Corpus and play.
Another question here. When are you going to Heim Barbecue? Or have you already gone?
I went yesterday.
Ooh, nice.
I went to
I
Heim
knew you were-
Barbecue
I knew it was in the
yesterday.
plans.
Yeah. Me and a buddy who coaches at Corsicana. He drove up from Corsicana to hang out with
How
me and go
about
to
that?
Heim. Yeah,
Nice.
so
That's
shout
a
out Coach Reese. Yeah, went to Heim yesterday. So
Awesome.
Had the 2-meat platter.
Burn-ins.
With, I didn't get any bacon burnt
Oh,
ins.
man.
Just got the 2-meat platter. I mean, my wife told me not to destroy my
That's
diet,
fair.
so I've tried to.
If you get the bacon burn ends, though, it's like it's almost weird to call them like a side, because it's like they are so like decadent.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like getting those like,
It's-
okay, like I really have to gear up to enjoy these, and it can sometimes
It's better if you're like with 3 or 4 people and you
Six-
can
that's
order
like
it,
an appetizer
and then you
almost.
can kind of get a couple
get
here
a
and
couple.
there. Yeah.
But with two
like
guys,
with our side of ribs.
Yeah, like our side of ribs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yes, I went yesterday. I went to the one on Magnolia. But they're for those of you who live in
Is
Dallas.
that the new one?
No, the one in Magnolia is the original.
Okay. Okay.
And then there's the one in West Fort Worth on the river, and then they have one in Dallas now, right
That's the
there, right
new
by
one.
Love Field.
I've only been to the one in Magnolia. I've not been to the one on the river, but I've heard the one on the river's like really cool.
They have the
Like,
It
big
is.
outdoor patio
They do.
area out there that looks real cool.
They do, and it's a lot bigger, lot
Take
lot
that
bit
back.
easier to get seating in there.
Do we have an ender?
No more questions, but we do have, going back to something that happened earlier in the show, there's 2 things. One,
final thoughts.
our Steeler fan, 1933. 1933 was the year that the Steelers were born.
Okay.
So he's not 87
I was
or
gonna
80,
s-
whatever.
That's a shame.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a shame.
I mean, welcome to the show.
Yeah, we appreciate you,
Yes.
but we
It's everybody's first show.
Yeah.
Every show is somebody's first show.
Show. And then when you asked Alexa to purchase dog food, 2 people responded. One of them being our good buddy, some SID from over in Commerce, Texas.
Oh, that guy.
He said
John
that
Monk?
Monk.
Monk.
Yeah.
John
Monk.
Monk.
I think it
John Monk sounds right.
Yeah. He said that, or Alexa said, the closest thing I can find is Blue Buffalo. It's $52.98. He said, Tepper, that's mean. And then Steeler fan also said she offered to order 30 pounds of dog food for $52.98. Luckily, I could say cancel.
Hey!
So I guess when you ask to buy 100
Yeah.
pounds of dog food, it comes up with
Blue Buffalo.
Blue Buffalo.
Blue Buffalo. We will
30
invoice
pounds
you as
of
well
it.
for
Yeah.
the advertising.
So
Yes.
there you go.
Make the check out to cash.
there you
Y'all take
go.
cash.
Stepp, thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me. I'm enjoying my time in Texas. It's great to see everyone, and I guess I will see all you losers in College Station in June. Actually, no. I will see you guys in DFW in June because we have a date at Bob's
We
coming
Let's
up.
go.
We do.
I'm flying in a day early just to go to Bob's.
That's right.
That's what's up.
To pull back the
I
curtain,
had to-
I owe the staff a Bob's dinner
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't get to have it in June or in December when we normally do. But now everything seems to be coming back. We're all going to be vaccinated, and so we will before 7-on-7. We'll go get
We'll go with the meat
an
sweats.
irresponsible.
Yeah,
amount of food.
I will be moving around that weekend and asked the new place if I could move in a day early so I would have a day to not be moving when we go to Bob's Day. I was like, I can't move on the 22nd. I have a
No.
thing that day.
I have a thing that
We got a thing.
we do.
I have a date with steak.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. For Matt Stepp and Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.